man. So, it is another Wednesday, and that means that we're having some coffee, and we have our coaches, and it's coffee with the coaches. So, we're going to talk about a lot of stuff today. We have a lot of good things, and we have our topic thanks to Coach Ariana today. But before we get to all that, we have all these beautiful supplements on the table. These brand new supplements on the table. We have our Everyday Fit Aloha Passion Fruit, which I think is now my personal favorite. And we have our cinnamon cereal milk protein powder. It tastes delicious. I know Coach Daniel and Coach Susie have made it in their coffee, and I heard it tastes amazing in overnight oats, so I got to give that a try. We have that in here. It is also online, but if you want to pick some up, I know people are already taking them off the shelf, so get yours before we run out, because they will soon, all right? So, I think that's as much as we got right here, so let's really get into it. So, what are we talking about today, guys?
We're talking about all these myths that are going around.
What do you mean by myths?
You know, a lot of people, there's so many things out there with health and fitness, and there's a lot of wrong things out there. So we're going to go ahead and set the record straight for some of them that really deep down bother us inside. I mean, they bother me at least, but...
There's just a lot of misconceptions going on sometimes, and we're just going to clear out some of our own, and then what we've learned, and what we've kind of realized with our journey, and then kind of just see what you guys got and what I got, and
yes,
what
sir.
you guys think as well.
See what happens. So, I hope by now we all have a pretty good understanding that everything on the internet is not always 100% true. There's a lot of stuff out there, and it makes it increasingly more difficult to kind of find out what is actually helpful versus what is just someone trying to make a quick buck and just say something out loud.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff, and I know there's some stuff on there which is kind of like, oh, it's cool to know, and also there's some stuff that's like deep-rooted in each and every one of us that we're like, no, that's not true. We don't agree with this. That's not how these things are. Now I know each of us, I think, have kind of one that really pulls at our heartstrings a little bit more. So who wants to go first?
Like Coach Ariana, because
Yeah.
she has a list.
Very passionate about this.
She has it all written
I've
down
got
right now.
notes and everything for you guys today. So I'm going to start off with maybe the one that bothers me the most, which is that girls shouldn't lift heavy because they think they'll get bulky. Not true. Not true at all. Not that you can't get big, because you can if you put in that work and you lift that heavy weight, you got the right diet going on, but you're not just going to get super jacked just from, doing some curls or some lifting some weights. I mean, a lot of the women, all these women go really hard in here with that heavy weight, and they're always pushing themselves, which is super cool to see. So don't be afraid to lift heavy weight. It's like really good for you, and you don't have to just do cardio. Like lifting weights is also a good way to burn off fat, because the more muscle that you put on, then that muscle needs energy. So your body's always going to be working to like give that muscle energy, and you're going to be burning calories with that muscle. So yeah, that's a big one for me. But what about you? What about you guys?
For me, I think it's just always, I just had it was always a misconception, or maybe I just wasn't too aware of what I needed to do, and that was just, my understanding was, you eat big, you get big. So obviously that is not the way to go. You need to track what you're eating, you need to know what you're consuming, what you're putting in your body, because we may be thinking that, oh, if I eat X, Y amount, whatever, I'm going to get big and this and that, and I'm going to see these results, but actually does not work like that, guys. Trust me, it didn't work for me. Also, I see all these different supplements and things like that I used to believe that would make me into this size that I wanted, and also that it was not the way to go, isn't the way to go. You need to, of course, know your stuff, know your body, know yourself, know what you need, track everything, and not just like Valencia said right here, there's so many things on the internet that'll tell you, that we categorize right there, like, oh, get big on this amount of time, drink this, and it's like, not everything is real. Some things won't work at all. And so that was my thing. I think like I said, eating a lot, I thought I was gonna get bigger just by eating a lot, so I wasn't tracking anything. I was just eating, and I never really saw anything, and I kind of just started, what I did try to see is more fat. So that's not what I wanted, that wasn't my goal, and so now I don't do that anymore. I do not advise anyone to do that. And yeah, that's mine.
So those are both great points, and before I go into mine, I kind of want to expand on at least how I see and everything. I'll start off with Ariana's thing. That's what I told, like, all throughout high school, all throughout, like, the beginning of my fitness journey, too. That's one of the things I realized really quickly is that women should be lifting weights, too. It's not like, I don't think any of you guys can come in here magically touch a dumbbell and gain, like, 50 pounds of just lean mass. It doesn't happen. You know, that's not realistic. You want to do that stuff because it helps you out with everything else you do. When you're doing deadlifts or you're doing squats or anything, it translates to actual practical things that happen in your life, and it just gets you stronger and more able to do these things. And we want to do functional things over just, you know, this, that, or the other. And in fact, like, I wouldn't be too upset if I just lifted a weight and all of a sudden I got way more jacked. Like, I'm trying to get stronger and live that way. So if that was the case, then I've been doing something really wrong for a long time. And also when it comes to Coach Augustus' thing, exactly. You know, a lot of things, especially, I think this goes more for guys than anything else. It's like, oh, if you want to put on like size, you want to get big and look stronger, then you just got to keep on eating, like eating as much as you can. That works for the 16-year-old kid that's having trouble gaining any weight at all, or it's like you need to get this really high caloric surplus. Thank you. That way you can put on mass because, you know, more calories equals more body mass. But there comes a certain extent where, you know, if you're going 500 calories or more over whatever your surplus is that your body can maintain, more than likely, you know, out of those 500, 4 of them are just going to start to help chip away at gaining more body fat. Like, it shouldn't be this colossal jump that you make. It should be a little bit at a time. And depending on your goals, same thing on the opposite way. If we slash away at your calories, it doesn't mean you're instantly going to be thin. That's another myth that I don't even think I have written down. That it's like just eating way less for the sake of losing weight doesn't do you any good. It actually puts your body in a lot more harm. There's a lot of people that are, let's say, what's like an average we have of people eating calories, like 1,800 calories or something like that, and people are like, oh, I'm only going to eat 1,200 because then if I cut out that extra 600 out of my diet, then I got to lose weight faster. It's like, no, your body has its basal metabolic rate, and if you're not sustaining at that rate, or at least, you know, chipping away how you're supposed to, like, that's the essential amount of calories you're supposed to have. And for most people, especially women, you should not, more than not, should not be under that 1,200 calorie mark, because that's where your body just needs that nutrients in order to function. So less calories does not mean, you know, oh, more weight loss. You're putting more stress on your body. That's why we want to go for sustainability over just, you know, a quick 30-day fix or a quick, you know, whatever fad diet or stuff like that, because that just stresses you guys out more. That's the last thing that any of us want to hear. Now, are there any, I know you talk more so about a really, you know, well, both of these are really personal. Is there anything else that you see now that for a long time you used to think, oh, this is what you had to do? Like, I know you said with, you know, you got to eat big to get big, but is there something where it's like you used to do this back in the day when you first started working out, first started lifting or whatever it was, and then you started to realize, oh, maybe this isn't exactly what I thought it was, or maybe this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing?
I mean, it still goes back for me with like thinking I just had to do cardio, like to lose weight, because that was my goal. Like when I was like 16, I wanted to lose weight, and I loved working out as soon as I like touched the weights. Like that was like all I loved to do after that. But also one thing about that, the lifting heavy thing, is that the reason like it's easier for like guys to build a lot more muscles because they have more testosterone. We have different hormones, so women don't have as much testosterone, so we're not gonna, you know, build it as easily or as like quickly, but we definitely can. And that was a misconception that I think I started off with from the beginning, thinking that I only should do cardio, I should only stay on the elliptical or the treadmill or anything like that, which is not true. You know, there's lots of different forms of exercise, and I just happen to love like strength training and weightlifting. And also, yeah, I think even after I got into weightlifting, like thinking I had to eat like a lot of food like in order to do that. But yeah, it's important to understand the amount of calories and what you're putting in your body. So yeah.
And I think that's why if you've gotten a 3D body scan, or if you've even hopped on any of the challenges, like now is a great time. If you haven't signed up for a challenge yet, by the way, you can sign up right now. Links in Facebook, your email, probably everywhere else that you have us in. Yeah. But after that quick plug, But figuring out your calories for your body is essential to understanding what you need to do in order to move on to your next goal. Because I'm seeing right here, we got a handful of responses. April said, that's exactly what I heard, not to eat and you will lose weight. Or on the other side of the spectrum, like eat as much as you can to gain weight. It's not that simple, because if you don't know where your body's supposed to be at, where it kind of has its balance point, if we'll call it that, then you don't know how much you have to take away, or you don't know how much to add on top of it. You're just kind of like shooting in the dark and hoping something misses. So, I mean, in a very, very loose and technical and general way, if you don't eat, you will lose weight. But it doesn't mean that it's efficient or effective.
Or healthy.
Exactly. So it's like we want this to happen in the safest manner possible. And slowly chipping away at it is the safer way, it's sustainable, and it leads to long-term results. Again, like I said, not just, oh, I hopped in a challenge and then 6 weeks later I lost all this weight because I just cut out everything that I enjoy in life. Like I couldn't imagine living my life like that. I like pizza way too much to just give it up. But
I love pizza.
thank you. I think someone told me recently they don't like pizza, and
What?
That's awful.
I'm not saying there's a lot of things that you can do in your life, and to each their own, but I think that was not right. But
It's not one size fits all. Bottom
Exactly.
line, it's not one size fits all. Everyone's different. Everybody needs different things for their body. But yeah.
Guys, it's really important. Also, cutting all the things that just cutting, let's say you guys are cutting all that food out. Think about like what you need, that fuel you need to go day to day. And sometimes we're feeling like sluggish. We're feeling sluggish. We're feeling like down. We don't have the energy. So all that work that you're trying to do, you're setting yourself back because you're not giving your body what it needs, because you think it needs less when it actually probably needs a little bit more, and then you can get the results that you're actually trying to get. So I think it's extremely important, guys, to be a little bit more mindful on what you're cutting, and not be not try to cut everything, because it really does not work like that. Just like it doesn't work like that to get big, it doesn't work like that to lose weight as well. So you can eat anything in moderation. Obviously, we've heard that all the time, everywhere. As long as you're taking care of yourself, you're putting in that work, and you're again eating in moderation, you will be good and you'll reach that goal. But do not starve yourself, because that is not the way to go.
Yeah, don't do it.
we got another myth, I think, from Sarah. She said, and I think we actually talked about this in there. How's it going, Sarah? She said, the one thing that I heard recently is that you need 40% of your calorie intake needs to be protein.
Oh,
That is extremely high.
Yeah.
Well, I think the ratio we advocate is it's either 20 to 25 or 25 to 30%.
that's almost double right there.
Yeah, because let's just do some simple math right here. If we're at 200 pounds of body weight, and we're eating 40% of our body weight or 40% of our meals in protein. So technically, you'd want like 1 gram of protein per gram of lean mass. And if you're around, let's just say like 30% body fat, you're probably at like 125-ish grams of the food you're eating. Now 125 times 4 is about 400 something calories out of probably an 1,800 calorie diet. And I know that's a lot of math I'm throwing at you on the screen, but essentially what I'm saying is it should be around like that 25% mark. 40 is like bodybuilding. Like if you need to have that protein to literally force the muscle to grow, and that is extremely high. And that's also a lot of like chicken. That just sounds also really expensive. But I don't personally, unless you're trying to step on stage or do something like that, I don't think that is necessarily something you need to do. I say around 20 to 25, or speak to your coach to see what fits you best. What other myths we got in here? I know I got a long list of them. Anything coming to your guys' mind? What about abs? Everybody's favorite question.
Yeah. You do. It's good to do ab exercises, but abs are made in the kitchen, guys. We build that muscle underneath, our stomach, but sometimes we have to like shed that layer of fat in order for them to show through. So like you could think, I gotta do a bunch of crunches, a bunch of sit-ups, a bunch of all this stuff, but it's like really, it's a lot in the way you eat. And that's kind of like, almost with like all over your body. If you want to look leaner and lean out, a lot of people, will try to shed a little bit of fat after they build up some muscle so that it shows through.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think that's a great way to put it. For the anatomy perspective of it, essentially, you have your abdominal wall, which has like a very big layer of fat on it, mostly to just kind of like protect and insulate. But then behind that, you have your first layer of your abs, and then everything else that goes behind it. And so if you build your abs, you strengthen them up, they get they get bigger and stuff like that. They don't just peek through; they just kind of like push against it. And so you might have stronger abs; they might physically be there, but that layer of fat is still there until you lower your body fat, and then it becomes thinner and thinner, and they start to peek through because there's not such a thick layer of fat in front of it. So that's why, like she said, they're made in the kitchen, because if you don't drop your body fat percentage, they will not show, just because that layer of fat will exist there no matter what. So
Yeah.
that's a little something to give you.
Yeah,
So that's why we focus on fat loss over just losing weight in general, because we want you to feel good about yourself and inside and out.
Yeah. Well put.
And since everyone has different body fat percentages, guys, that's exactly why we can't just give one person the same meal plan or diet that the next person, because everyone has different body fat percentages. So that's why you have to be very careful on following someone else's or getting on the internet and then all of a sudden just, okay, I'm going to do this plan because I feel like it's going to work. But in reality, it probably won't work, or maybe it will, but that's why you want to do the research. You want to get your numbers and target what your goal is and not follow somebody else's goal, because it may not work for you. It may work for them, but it may not be you. You may need some other type of diet. Keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Nothing really beats consistency. At the end of the day, if you're consistent with your diet and your exercise, there's almost nothing stopping you from getting your results. And everything else, it's like, do X, Y, and Z to expedite the process or make it simpler, or you get those ads on the internet, like, oh, I don't anymore because I put an ad blocker on. But that just like pop up and they're like, hey, drink this, you'll lose 20 pounds in a week.
Solve all your problems and either make you build a bunch of muscle or lose a bunch of weight in 30 days. Like, we gotta put in that work, and with all that hard work that we put in, honestly, a lot of other stuff comes out of it. Regardless of like, oh, I have a goal that I want to lose a lot of weight. You get stronger in all kinds of different aspects. So having to put in that work benefits us in a lot of different ways, I think. But yeah, those ads, I don't like those ads.
Also for me, when I was first starting, I wanted to get big so bad. I mean, it's just a waste of money, guys. I was purchasing, I was wasting over hundreds and hundreds of bucks on mass gainers and proteins and all this different stuff that, in reality, I never, I was the same freaking guy. I didn't even get big. And I didn't get, this huge, massive bodybuilder that I wanted to be at the time. So definitely do not waste your money. Do your actual, good research. Don't just, listen to these pop-up ads, because most of the time they're just trying to get you cash.
Yeah.
I think one time I talked to someone who owned a supplement company, and they were talking to me about this protein, talking about all the benefits it has specifically. And I was like, okay. And I wasn't ready to spend $80. I was 18 and had no money, so I was like, $80 is a lot. I'm just gonna leave. And then I go and I kind of research it on my own, and everything that he told me, essentially everybody that actually was well versed in it, they're like, all of this is just marketing terms.
Wow.
All of it is just marketing terms, and then you look at the ingredients list, and it's just a really big mix of fillers, especially because it was a weight gainer. A bunch of fillers, and then at the very last step, the essential proteins that are in it. So there is a lot of stuff out there that's just this, super pump or whatever, something crazy, some crazy thing on it. And then to get you to buy, to get you to pull the trigger and spend money on the product when you don't necessarily need it. At the end of the day, supplements are just that. They supplement what you're missing in your diet. Not, it's not going to be like you take a scoop of protein and all of a sudden you're a whole new person. But it helps if you're not hitting your protein marker. It helps if you find it difficult. We got a question right here from April. She said, can you lose fat first and then gain muscle, or do you have to gain muscle first? I've always been worried since I hear that you gain muscle and it doesn't help the scale.
Well, building muscle helps you burn fat.
Yes.
So if you put on muscle, that's going to help you kind of do it almost at the same time.
You could be doing both at the same time. I feel like that would be, it just depends what your, I would feel like what your main focus is, probably. But I don't think it, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't feel like it, I think you could do both while you can burn fat, while you're building that muscle.
Yep.
You know?
So how I read this, and of course, correct me if I'm wrong and they got it right, or vice versa. I see it as, oh, can I lose fat first and then gain muscle so that when I go on the scale it shows that I'm going down and then I'm going up? Because I know the scale thing is just a giant mind game. Like aside, I personally, for the most part, hate the scale if it's any way makes you feel negative about the results that you're getting, especially when you get into fitness. Like they said, you're gonna, especially if you haven't been working out, you're gonna gain lean mass extremely quick compared to someone that's been in the gym for 2 or 3 years, because your body's just going through that process so much more. And so when you're going through the first part of it, you will lose body fat, like 100%. You're gonna lose some body fat if you keep doing it, if you keep exercising, and you keep on doing your due diligence. But you're also gonna gain lean mass. So that's where a lot of people, they'll either think that, I feel like I'm losing weight, I feel like I'm moving better, but the scale hasn't budged. But all of a sudden you go from lifting, a 15-pound dumbbell and it being extremely difficult to now you're pushing a 30. And your clothes is literally like falling off because you've been losing inches. And there's so many other factors. So I personally, I'm 100% behind this, where it's like, especially if you're first joining, you will gain lean mass and you will drop body fat. And that will happen more so relatively at the same time. Maybe not at the same pace, like you lose a pound of fat and you gain a pound of muscle, but they'll kind of coincide and keep on doing that. So even if you hop on the scale 1 week and you think, okay, I'm at X amount of weight, and then at the end of the next week you weigh yourself again, it's like, oh, well, I only lost a half pound. But you feel better with your energy, your clothes feels looser. That just means that you did gain muscle. And now it isn't a separate process unless you didn't do anything to stimulate strength. Like you didn't do any type of weightlifting. Like Ariana said in the beginning, if you just do cardio, more than likely you will lose body fat on a technicality, but you also won't gain the strength to go out and do other stuff. You'll still be at the same strength, if not a little bit less, because you're you're catatonic. I don't think that's the right word. Yes. No. I'll figure it out later and just say it in the middle. But you're catabolic, and so that means that your body is taking away muscle mass from your body, and that's just, cardio is a catabolic state of being. And so when you're doing just cardio, like a lot of women think that it's like, oh, if I just do cardio, I'm gonna lose weight and get the body that I want. It doesn't stimulate the muscle mass, and then you won't grow that strength. And we're going for functionality as well, so that you can move well, you can feel well, have strong joints, have confidence in yourself to go out and do stuff. So I hope that answered your question. I hope if they said it before that I've just been rambling for the past 2 minutes, but
that was some good info right there.
But yeah, don't worry. Let me know if you want to hear a lot more of the extremely in-depth sciencey things, and I'll make some videos on the side.
I know I do.
Is there any other really big myth out there that you think needs to kind of be boom, that's not right? Don't follow this, don't do this, or just look at another way of thinking?
I need to be fit before attending boot camp.
Oh.
Yes!
Yeah, that's a good one.
There is no prerequisite to starting your fitness journey or coming in here. Come in, work out. That's it. You don't have to have a history of just going to the gym or a history of running or any.
I'm gonna jump
Come
in
in.
real quick.
Yes.
What's going on, everybody? Coach Kat. I just heard Valencia asking that question, and I had to throw that out because I have heard that so many times that people want to join us, but they think they need to start working out on their own first to get into fitness before they come in, and that is so not true. You're gonna get fit, you're gonna get stronger, you're gonna gain endurance, and you're gonna feel so amazing about yourself just starting at boot camp. All right, so just wanted to throw that out there because that has been a huge myth since day one that we opened up.
Yes.
So come in here, don't be scared.
Start here.
Start here, start now.
I think that pretty much sets us off. Thanks, Kat.
You're welcome.
I think that's pretty much it. Any closing remarks or closing myths or something you just want to throw out there?
I would really encourage you guys to take the opportunity to check out that New Year, New You challenge, guys, because we are gonna go through a bunch, like the whole meal planning, and you're gonna have your coaches with you if you decide that that's what you want for the VIP members, right? And then for the newcomers, you guys will have the coaches. But it is a really good time to take advantage of those incentives of getting that meal plan. And we're going to be there to guide you through that and help you through that and answer all of your questions. So if you guys are still like trying to figure out what the diet is and any other questions that you guys have, it's a 6-week challenge. It is the perfect time to get all your questions answered, to get helped and get started, and then keep on pushing after that, guys. Yeah.
Perfect. We got to do a couple of rapid response answers.
Okay.
We got 2 right now. So Nayeli asks, stop eating after 6 or 7 p.m. Ariana, go.
No, wrong. You can't eat. Well, yeah, no.
Wrong.
He's rushing me. I don't know. My brain. I mean, don't eat bad stuff, but like I.
That's just in general.
Yeah, that's just in general. But that's not gonna like make you gain weight if you eat after 6 o'clock or 8 o'clock.
You're not like. Have you guys seen the Gremlins movies?
No.
Oh my god. I'm like, all right. You guys have to. This is an 80s, 90s, 80s movie. I think 90s, whatever. The Gremlins. You guys aren't Gremlins. If you eat after midnight, you don't turn into like this monster and all of a sudden like that. Like eat when you are hungry. Eat when you feel like it. Don't eat just emotionally or when you're bored.
Yeah.
Eat when you. Yes, Monica, you've seen it. Thank you.
Fuel your body. When your body is telling you something, listen to it.
Yes,
if it's telling you
that is the
it
biggest
needs
thing.
Food, give it food. If it's telling you it needs rest, give it the rest. If it's telling you it needs agua, give it water. You know what I'm saying? Listen to your body, guys, because it is telling you for a reason and it needs what it needs. So it is okay.
Yes, 1984, Gremlins. Thank you, Libby. I'm going to watch it again just because of you guys. Also, another thing, rapid fire. Gus, if you don't feel sore the day after a workout, I didn't push myself hard enough. Go.
Definitely not. You did push yourself hard. You don't have to be sore in order to know that you did it. That's just a big misconception, guys. So don't believe that. You go hard and you know it. So sometimes you'll be sore, sometimes you won't. But that doesn't mean that you didn't do good or that you did it. You know what I mean? Like, you did good. Soreness isn't the
deciding factor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. There really isn't any just like, when you do a workout, was it effective or not? The only way to know is to measure in the long term of things. Like if you feel sore every day, that might not necessarily be, the best answer if it's like taking away from your everyday life or taking away or stuff like that. But the only way to really measure if you had a successful workout is to be consistent and see results after, a month, 3 months, that. If you're getting results by then you know what you're doing is working. If you feel like you've hit a plateau after a long period of time, not just a week or two, then it's maybe time to shake things up, change the diet, change the intensity, figure out kind of those changes that need to be made. But soreness does not mean success. Soreness just means that you tore your muscles apart and that it's trying to recover properly. It also means that you might need to take your recovery a little bit more seriously and make sure that you're resting properly, make sure you're drinking your water, and all that good stuff. But I don't think we have any more rapid fire answers, and I need you guys to watch Gremlins as homework because it's a great movie.
For sure.
But I think that's all we got. Unless there's any last minute ones, I think that's it. So.
You can always ask questions, always the people around you. It's the best way to get information. Yes, we're standing.
So hands in the middle, everybody. Let's go ahead. Let's get a family on 3. 1, 2, 3. Family! Thank you, fam. Take care.